Hello, welcome back to the Indie Ocean. This is StormGate, the second instalment in Tower Defense Week. As someone who, until quite recently, hadn't really played Tower Defense games, this one is my preferred choice from the many that are available on Xbox Live Indie games. It's not ridiculously hard, like Spoids, which came out recently, and it's not broken like Zombie Crossing, which is always a bonus. But the thing that really drew me to it, even, was this sort of almost city building type element, which you can see occurring to the left of the main screen here. But I'll come back to that in a moment. The tower defense part is mostly business as usual. You erect towers, turrets, along the specified routes to try and repel enemy forces. And there are various types of tower, each of which costs a different amount. There are also spells that you can use as sort of emergency backup. I tend to use haste quite a lot. Basically causes all your towers to fire much faster for a short time. But some others like protect and warp are useful in a pinch. Warp sends enemies further back across the screen, and protect sort of protects your gate, the gate of your compound, from damage. So those are sort of last resorts. And that's the case with most of the spells. I mean, they're not a big deal, but they can make the difference between doing badly and doing well if things start to get out of control. So it's a nice touch. But not unique to StormGate. The thing that is, as far as I'm aware, unique to StormGate is, as I said, the sort of city thing to the left of the screen. Now, after you've finished a particular level, fought off all the waves of enemies on that map, you get points. I can't remember what the exact name is. Sort of base points. Construction points. Depending on how well you did. So if you did badly, you might not get any. Or if you did well, you might get, I think 3 or 4 is the most you can get in any one level. And you use these to buy buildings. You can see there's a limited number of spaces within the compound, so you can't just buy buildings indefinitely, and you have to give some thought to which ones will be most useful to you. Some just generate gold every few seconds. And in my particular compound, at the point I'm at during the campaign, I've pretty much half filled it with those buildings that just passively produce gold. I've also got some that give you a gold bonus at the start of each level, some that increase how much gold you get from defeating each enemy, some that boost the power, the attack strength of your towers, some that reduce the cost of upgrading your towers. So you can balance all this out in whatever way you see fit. I've emphasised income, producing as much gold as possible, but if you wanted to, you could whack in loads and loads of buildings that reduce the cost of upgrades to your towers, so you can get your towers to maximum power really cheaply and really quickly. So this allows not a huge variety, but some degree of customization and variety in the way you want to play the game. And you can always replay it, or replay the whole campaign, basically, from scratch, going for a different build to see how you fare with different approaches. So that's a nice touch, and that was what really drew me to StormGate. But what keeps me coming back to it is the fact that, compared to many other tower defense games I've played, it's not that hard. If you're an accomplished tower defense veteran, that might not appeal to you. You might go, easy. And I can understand that. But for me, it's probably a little bit on the easy side. But I do like the feeling that I'm able to progress, and that if I don't succeed at a particular level, I at least have some idea of what I did wrong and how I can improve it the next time. Whereas with some other tower defense games, like Spoids, which is a very good game, but also a very, very hard game, I don't necessarily know where I'm going wrong. So that's StormGate, a brief introduction to the game. If you like tower defense games, or if you've never played one before, I recommend this. It's only 80 Microsoft points, and it's a good, accessible representation of the genre, and it brings enough to the table that it's not just boring, plonking towers along the paths. It's pretty good fun. It's the most fun I've had with any one tower defense game, as someone who's not really a great fan of the genre. The one thing I feel I should point out before I go is it's pretty ugly. None of the towers look like anything they're meant to be, and the levels are pretty much this kind of beige and green medley. Not very exciting. So if you're someone who values pretty visuals, then look elsewhere. There are some much prettier ones. Spoids, which I've mentioned a couple of times, is a lot prettier. There are also some 3D type ones, or pseudo 3D ones, that the names of which elude me right now. But if you're just looking for a fun type of tower defense game, or you're curious about whether you might enjoy tower defense, StormGate is a good choice. Rejoin me in another few days for the conclusion of Tower Defense Week, and we're going with something a bit different the next time. I think it still fits into Tower Defense, but it's pretty different to any other game of that type that I've played. So on that cliffhanger, I will leave you, and rejoin me the next time. Thanks for watching.